Hey guys, welcome to Ecological Succession. We are starting our unit on ecology. So we are going to be looking at how we go from a barren situation to a full forest. So we're going to be talking about ecological succession first. A full sheet of paper. We're going to fold it almost half, except for maybe about a finger. We see how it creates a flap. So we're going to start this. So this helps us create a line where we're going to actually draw. Okay? So we're going to start with this paper. So we're going to start explaining what the first part of succession is, and it's primary succession. So we're going to be talking about the process that happens on a newly formed habitat. So what does a newly formed habitat look like? We're going to start with some rocks, right? We're just going to start with some rocks that have been piled. And weathering is going to occur. So we're going to have wind that comes in. And then, of course, we will also have some rain. And as the rain falls down, it also helps break the rock down, and we start seeing our first species come in, our lichens. The lichens are going to come into and start helping break the rocks. We have moss, we have lichens working together. They help break the rocks, plus the weathering that's occurring with the wind and the rain and the sun come back out. So after a while, we're talking a year or so, we're going to develop a little bit of the broken rock. So now it's a little bit, this rock is breaking down. We have a little bit of soil because the lichens are dying and they're forming, and then of course they're breaking down the rocks. We are now going to develop at this stage our grasses. Our little grasses will come in. You're going to draw some grass. Living plants, we have organisms that are going to come in. We can all, and we have the grasses come in, the grass. And the stage where we have a lot of grasses, this is called the prairie stage. So we're going to put the prairie stage. So please draw that. Okay? During the prairie stage, we also have small organisms come in like our grasshoppers. So we're going to draw our little camouflage grasshoppers. Or we can also put some walking sticks. And then we start getting little rodents. Here's my little mouse. I'll make fun of my little mouse. Try to draw as better than I can. I know you can do better than me. So we're just going to draw a couple of little rodents. And then, and also we start getting some more insects like our little butterflies. We start getting little butterflies. And then, of course, there's insects, and we're going to have some flying birds. Small, tiny birds that want to eat the insects. So this is the stage of the prairie. Then we start, after several years, we start getting those plants decompose, they start dying. So we get a thicker brush. So we get thicker, more rocks, we got more dirt, and now besides the grass that we have, we're also start developing little shrubs. They are a little thicker, a little bit hardier, so we start getting more shrubs. So then of course we're gonna get animals that are a little bit bigger, like my little rabbit that I'm gonna draw. This is my little rabbit. Yes. my little rabbit. And this little rabbit is now going to be worrying also about bigger birds that can come in. And then, of course, we can also have some reptiles, you know, the slithering snakes that could potentially eat him. There's my little snake. And then, of course, we have our little shrubs keep getting thicker with little grass. And then if they die, they provide more nutrients. So once we have the shrubs established, this right now is now called the, this stage right here is now going to be called the shrub stage. After several tasks, we are going to start getting more and more complex, taller trees. And some of our smaller plants will start to decay and die because there's not enough light for photosynthesis. And we start getting a little bit of bigger animals, hares, bigger rabbits, okay? So we can get the little rabbits that come in. And our dirt is very thick. It's thicker now because now we have more shrubs that have passed away. We have more decomposers, like maybe a couple of earthworms coming here. We have a little couple of earthworms. And we have trees now that tend to be a lot bigger. I mean, the birds are building the nest. And so now we have little birds, little chickadees waiting for their mama in their little nest. So we have more animals that are growing. And then we continue to have thicker, more hardier trees down. So we have trees that have actually fallen down. We have trees that have died. And now we have more trees coming in to take those places. And now this stage right here where we have more complex shrubs and tree growth, this is called the young forest. We have the young forest. Okay? So many years have passed now, and now we're going to start getting different kinds of trees. We're going to start maybe getting some pine trees. And the dirt, the soil has actually gotten thicker at this stage. So now after so many years, the soil is very thick. Now we have more surface area for plants to grow. Okay, we have a lot of the area so that we have a forest that's more variety in species. There's more kinds of trees growing there. We'll have some trees, different colors of trees. Okay, so now we have larger animals here. We start having maybe some deer or some bears. So I'm going to try to see if I can sketch my little deer for you. Larger animals that are now the predators. So finally, maybe after 100, 150 years, now we have a thicker floor of forest. Our forest is a lot, the floor is a lot thicker. Okay, so now our types of trees that are here are big pine trees. Those big sturdy trees. We also have some smaller ones further back. And then we have our we have a variety of trees back here. So a bunch of trees. And of course there's a couple of plants on the floor, on the forest floor. They can still grow even though there's not a lot of things. So we have here our part of our mature. So once we have our forest completely filled in, we are now going to have our little bear out on the top, our little animals here. This is now called a climax forest. We're about 150 years. So to recap what we did, we have the mature forest where we have our animals. We have the young forest where we have our trees starting to grow. Then we have our shrub stage, we have our prairie stage, and we have our rock stage. So this that you have seen from the very, very beginning, this is now what we called primary succession. Primary succession could have started with our volcanoes. So primary succession could have started with the early stages of our rock formation, which is with volcanoes, or sometimes you can find primary succession where we start with a bunch of bricks or a bunch of concrete blocks or cement, places where there is not a lot of soil. It's all hard rock. So primary condensation can happen in rocks. They used to make walls out of big rocks. So primary succession can start all that. So this is where we start. Primary succession starts with our volcanoes, and of course weathering is what is going to break that down. But once you have your mature forest, how do we start secondary succession? So secondary succession starts with a mature climax forest that gets destroyed or parts of it gets destroyed, and that is caused by our tornadoes, our lightning that can start a fire, or even our campers that can cause a forest fire. So secondary succession has to start with differences that secondary succession doesn't start here anymore. Secondary succession actually starts at this stage right here. We already have the dirt. So we're going to start all over again here in secondary succession, but we already have soil, and that's what I have placed here. In secondary succession, you start with soil. They came from the mature forest. It has the nutrients. It has everything ready for a new forest to begin. It's going to take another 100 years, but instead of 150, it might just take 100 years because we don't have to start with rock. So I hope you understand the difference between primary succession and secondary succession. Primary starts with no soil, it starts with barren rock, and secondary succession starts with soil. I hope you enjoy my little picture and have a great and wonderful day.